And this is Sustainability Connect on every Wednesday from 10 to 12. And today we are discussing tax incentives that are available for green businesses. And thank you so much, Karanu, for joining us today. And thank you for all the insights. And now we're getting a bit of clarity on your role as an authority, because I keep saying that you guys face the hardest backlash because people are not aware of what it is that you guys do, or maybe you use a lot of jargon as KRA. Watu huku chini hatuelewi. So thank you for clarifying some of these issues. And right before we speak about the eligibility criteria, let's talk about the mandate of KRA.
So KRA's mandate is very simple. It is to assess, collect, and account for all of government revenue. In fact, we normally say, or rather statistically, 95% of all government revenue is collected by KRA. So we are the custodians of public trust where fiscal matters are concerned. So whenever we are looking at the economy and the taxations that are being proposed, we have to ask ourselves a very critical question. Is this enabling business or hampering business? So our role is to assess, collect, and account for that revenue. But you realize we are not in the business of doing business as a government, just generally speaking. So government is in the business of ensuring that people can do business. So if there's anyone who is interested in your prosperity or your success, I guarantee you it's KRA. Because if you prosper, then we prosper. If you have more profits, then there's more taxes for you to pay. So what we normally tell our taxpayers is, please come, have conversations with us. We are very happy to guide you. We're very happy to have conversations that concern you, where your business is at, and how can we help you grow and sustain. So please come to KRA. We are happy to help your business grow. Always.
That is very very well put. Because I don't think there's any department in this country that is as feared as KRA.
Really?
Yeah, because like people, watu wa KRA ndo wamekuja. The next thing that you either know, either you or the Kanjo, you guys, you're the people who make businesses like really feel like they want to shut down, but that is not me. That is just an opinion of the public.
Well, my experience with the public, and I must speak to this, has been when we actually engage, you realize that there's nothing to fear.
Yeah.
It may be a conception, as you're putting it, but from my experience, when I've engaged with taxpayers, that they're all but too willing to come to the table because they realize we are here for their interests. We have their best interest at mind. Like I said, if you prosper, we prosper.
Yeah, speaking of, so what are the eligibility criteria for businesses to benefit from the green tax incentives? Because we need to know what is on the table. What are the rules and the guidelines that say that this qualifies, this does not qualify?
Let me speak to two. Let me narrow down the conversation to two. We talked about the special economic zone earlier. And while we're discussing the special economic zone, I mentioned the special economic zone authority, SEZA. So if you want to operate in a special economic zone, you must meet the criteria as stipulated by the special economic zone authority. Once the authority has verified you for eligibility, because there must be an eligibility verification, then at that point, any benefits that should accrue to you from a tax perspective now come into play. If you want to say, for example, set up an emissions trading company, or you want to start a carbon trading company, you must be certified eligible by NIFCA. That is the Nairobi International Financial Center Authority. If NIFCA certifies you that you qualify for emissions trading and you qualify for carbon trading practices, then at that point we do give you a preferential tax rate.
Oh, really?
Yes. So we have, and I would like to make the audience aware that we have preferential tax rate guidelines available to be read by the public. Even the requirements by SEZA, Special Economic Zones Authority, are available to the public. So if you go to the SEZA website, you will see the list of the things that you need to comply with. If you go to the KRA website, you shall see the preferential rate guidelines available for you. So that now you see, does your business fall within this category. And if you do, then please come. We want to ensure that you have a period of time where you can repatriate the profits back into your business to grow it at scale while still contributing your fair share so that you can create jobs locally. If you need to partner with foreign institutions, there is a skills transfer because you don't want to be dependent on foreign agents for too long. Much as we encourage international trade, we do want local capacity for these things. So once you have qualified under any of these two, I would encourage you, please come visit KRA. We give you the preferential tax rate that is accrued to you, and then therefore you can go grow your business and contribute your fair share as you employ more Kenyans and as you bring up our capital base as a nation. Yes.
Wow. Let me ask,
Yeah.
is there miscommunication when it comes to I know we had discussed this a bit earlier, and especially on matters of the eco levy, because every time we want to talk about eligibility and we want to talk about the criteria, people are always streaming it aside and saying the eco levy, the eco levy. Maybe you can clarify on one, it was not passed. Yeah. So why do we feel like there's a bit of miscommunication there?
So you remember we had the finance bill of 2024, which had certain revenue raising measures in place so that government could meet its budgetary obligations. And the public spoke and they rejected the finance bill, and His Excellency, while responding to the needs of the public, said that the bill shall not pass. So the proposals that were in the finance bill are presently not law, because a bill must go through public participation, it must go through parliament, and if parliament passes it, it must be assented into law by His Excellency. The Excellency did not assent this into law. So as we speak, as per the finance bill of 2024, it's not there. So maybe if you look at the current proposals in the finance bill 2025, if it's there, those are things, again, you can engage National Treasury and your respective member of parliament and see what the benefits that it would have to the economy and if it's facilitative to the business environment. Because you remember, like I said, government is not in the business of doing business, it's in the business of ensuring that business can be done. Yes.
So are there penalties for companies that claim that, they want to benefit from the green tax without genuinely engaging, in sustainable practices?
Well, if you go to the Tax Procedures Act of 2015, and it has gone through several iterations with successive finance acts, there are penalties stipulated for people who are engaging either in tax evasion or tax avoidance or misrepresentation of facts where they are benefiting from something that they're not engaging in. Let me take that a bit slower. So if you're engaging in tax evasion practices and we conduct an audit and we find that you are not contributing your fair share, by the amount that you have evaded, you'll be subjected to a penalty that is twice the value. If you have avoided, again, you have a penalty that is twice the value of the taxes that have been avoided. If you also go to the anti-corruption law that's there, if there is a public servant that has aided and abetted you in avoiding or evading these taxes, they are subjected to a fine not exceeding 1 million, and they are not supposed to hold office for a period of up to 10 years. They cannot hold a public office for 10 years, or they can serve a jail term of 10 years. Now you, again, who is causing us an economic, you're committing an economic crime, again, the same things apply to you. You can be subjected to a jail term not exceeding 10 years, or you can be subjected to a penalty of twice the amount that has been lost or gained through this illegal or illicit practice. So there are laws in place to ensure that the right person benefits from the incentives in place. Because you remember, what's the objective here? To ensure that you can compete at scale, you can create jobs, you can transfer skills, and that you can contribute to the economy. That is why we give these incentives. Yes. So if you're benefiting from it and you shouldn't, it's better.
There's definitely consequences.
There's a consequence. Consequence management is critical. Yeah.
Kwangi na upole.
No, it's just the law. You know, KRA is objective in the sense that we
Mhm.
implement the law.
Yeah.
We have an objective standard by which we evaluate
Mhm.
our taxpayers,
Mhm.
and that is simply the law.
Yeah.
And by that same
Mhm.
measure and by that same standard,
Mhm.
you can evaluate us as well
Mhm.
and hold us to account so
Mhm.
that nobody within the authority
Mhm.
can compel you to do something that is not within the law.
Mhm.
If that is the case, as a taxpayer, you have the right to complain, and
Yeah.
that complaint has to be addressed. But if it is something within the law, please comply. Because remember at the beginning I said
Mm.
that we are an agile tax and customs agency that is facilitating voluntary compliance.
Mhm.
But that is hinged upon the laws that are there in the
Mhm.
Republic of Kenya. Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
So, with all this in place,
Yeah.
with all the, you know, there's proper documentation, there's
Mm.
companies are eligible. Are companies now coming to you guys? I mean, you're big on stakeholder engagement.
Mm.
Are there more companies that are taking it up and they're saying, we want to apply for these incentives? And
Mm.
do you feel like there's an increase in of companies taking advantage?
Absolutely. Like I said, particularly with the preferential tax rates,
Mm-hmm.
in there, that particular guideline has provisions for assembly of motor vehicles. So, without naming specific companies, we have seen an uptick in the assembly of local EVs. And one of the success stories that we have seen
Mm-hmm.
by that company and their counterparts within that industry engaging with us
Mm-hmm.
is that for the first time they have a dedicated line at Kenya vehicle manufacturers where they're assembling vehicles all year round. Yeah. And that is because they took advantage of the tax incentives in place.
Mm-hmm.
Even beyond that, we linked them with our counterparts in customs, and they are now taking advantage of what we call the Authorized Economic Operator Program. That means basically you're a trusted taxpayer, you're compliant, you meet your dues as they should be. So when you import your goods at the point of entry, your facilitation is seamless and it's expedient.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, whenever we see that a good belonging to an AEO is at the port, they do not take longer than 48 hours to be cleared.
Mm-hmm.
Ideally, it should be immediate clearance. Yeah. So
Oh.
there are benefits that are there for companies that
Mm-hmm.
are compliant
Mm-hmm.
and are engaging in green initiatives. You remember we held the Africa Climate Summit
Mm-hmm.
about 2 years ago, and certain commitments were made, and we had the Nairobi Declaration.
Yeah.
So, in line with the Nairobi Declaration that was made, we must now start aligning and providing policies that can encourage companies
Mm-hmm.
to set up green oriented institutions
Mm-hmm.
so that now we begin greening our economy.
Mm-hmm.
We've also seen certain companies in the agricultural space which
Mm-hmm.
are now creating green ammonia locally,
Mm-hmm.
and they're building local capacity, and they're using even solar powers. Solar panels to power their plants, and so they're giving affordable, more organic fertilizer locally for use, which is even more price competitive. Again, taking advantage of the current policies that are in place.
Mm-hmm.
So not only are we looking at transportation, are we looking at energy, we're
Mm-hmm.
also looking at agriculture, we're looking at waste. We're looking at environmental degradation and things that we need to do to mitigate that.
Mm-hmm.
We're also looking at green manufacturing
Mm-hmm.
because there's the CBAM issue that's going to come up very soon.
Mm-hmm.
They were given 2023 to 2025 to transit in terms of sustainable manufacturing practices. But with 2026, if you want to export into the European Union, you must now start ensuring that your products which have been manufactured are green, or
Mm-hmm.
you've paid the respective carbon
Mm-hmm.
credits.
Yeah.
So we are seeing a shift locally towards green manufacturing. And so we are looking at putting in place policies, and there are still policies in place which can be refined and developed further and better
Mm-hmm.
to ensure that our local manufacturers or foreign direct investors who are here manufacturing and they've offshored
Mm-hmm.
their manufacturing plants here, when they're exporting to their global counterparts and possibly Europe, for example, that the goods they're exporting meet the requirements of CBAM. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So there are companies taking advantage of this. We are seeing carbon capture, we are seeing carbon storing institutions, and all of these are taking advantage of instruments like SEZ that are there.
Mm-hmm.
They're also taking advantage of the preferential tax rates. We've even seen people coming up with green buildings and also floating green bonds. So even from a perspective of financing, the interest on green bonds, and there's one particular developer I saw, he listed his shares on the stock exchange, and he was able to raise revenue to be able to expand his enterprise. And because he was developing so many, again, even under preferential tax rates, he qualifies under preferential tax rates. So he's not paying 30, he's paying 15 because he's developing more than 100 units. So we are seeing everywhere across the board those who know and those who are engaging us. And again, for those listening, engage us. Those who know and those who are engaging us, they are taking advantage of the policies in place. And we are inviting sector players to come in. Let's have a conversation. You are the subject matter experts in these areas. We are the subject matter experts on regulatory reform and regulatory management. So let's have a meeting and we have a win-win solution, because there are companies currently that are having win-win solutions.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, Karanu, I must say, you're very knowledgeable in matters of the green tax exemptions, and I must say that I'm also learning a lot that I hadn't even like really gone through, just to understand that, you know, if you do it right, like if your business is just as well regulated, then you're good to go. You need not to fear. So thank you for that. And we're gonna take a short break, and because of time, we are gonna be coming back and just about to wind up. And when we come back, we'll just be looking at one, why companies shy away from, you know, doing their revenue through KRA and just not wanting to file their tax returns. We need to know, understand why. And then after that, we'll also discuss the role, you know, the tax policies play in the country. So we're going to be discussing that. And when we love, like I keep saying, I'm not an expert in this space, so I always invite experts to come and help us understand these conversations in a very simplified manner, in a way that you are able to, you know, ensure that your business is running smoothly. And we want to start the year enabling companies to do businesses the right way. So, and this is one of the right ways of doing businesses in the country. And thank you so much for coming on the show. And we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, let's do this. All right, and we are back live on Sustainability Connect on Icon Radio, your number one entertainment plug. And this is a beautiful, beautiful Wednesday, and I'm your host, Wanjira Maganjo. And we are just about to wind up with Karano, who's a stakeholder engagement. I don't know what just happened there, but thank you so much for being with us, and thank you so much for all your questions. Akiziko Mob, I'm actually feeling very overwhelmed by your questions, but I'll read a couple at the very tail end of the show. Okay. But let's jump right into it. And what role do tax policies play in Kenya's journey towards achieving its climate and sustainability goals? I think that is where we left it off, and maybe you can pick it up from there.
For example, the green bonds that I was speaking about earlier, that you can float at the Nairobi Securities Exchange upon approval by CMA. And to that extent, we've seen a developer who's taken advantage of that. And now whoever buys those green bonds normally enjoys tax exemption where the interest is concerned. We are also incentivizing sustainable practices. We're reviewing certain laws or certain legal notices with particular interest in maybe, say, assembly of electric vehicle manufacturers. And we are engaging that industry as a whole to see what is it that we can do to help. You remember during the Africa Climate Summit, we saw His Excellency getting into an EV, and there was a lot of excitement where that is concerned. And also, when you look at its carbon footprint, it's definitely a lot less than our normal cars that we use on an everyday practice. So we just want to give alternatives, because we do believe there's space in the economy for everybody. We don't want to maybe agree with one industry against the other, but we want to ensure that there's space for everybody to benefit. Yeah. We also discourage environmental harmful activities, particularly at our points of entry. We highly restrict importation of hazardous material. How is it disposed? And we, at that point, we also work with other partner government agencies to ensure that we are taking care of the environment that we have. Yeah. And it's critical that even in our national flag, that one of the colors is green.
Yeah.
So that means that as a nation, we ought to be sensitive to the environmental impact that we are having. And at KRA, we're alive to that fact. And then, of course, we have to align with international climate commitments through initiatives like the Nairobi Declaration. We are collaborating with other African institutions to push for global financial reform and new taxes to fund climate action. All of this in an effort to ensure that we are sustainable where climate matters are concerned. But more specifically, in terms of the laws that we administer, we have the East Africa Customs Community Management Act. We also have the regulations that come with that act. And then we have the Tax Procedures Act, we have the Excise Management Act, we have the Income Tax Act, we have the Value Added Tax Act. All of this, and then of course we have respective legal notices that are there that support everything that we do. Like I said, how KRA engages with you is very objective. It's based on the law. So, and the law cuts both ways. It's how we address you, but it's also how you evaluate us. So if we are contravening the law, you can lodge a complaint and it shall be addressed. But on the other hand, when we're telling you to comply, we're telling you comply with these respective sections of the law. Yeah.
Oh, wow. In between the breaks, you were talking about something to do with amnesty. You want to talk about that right now, or you want to let that skip away?
That would be a better parting shot because I really want people to take home the gospel of amnesty.
All right. So how can people access more information and guidance from KRA on this topic?
Of course, you can visit any one of our tax service offices or you can visit any one of our customs offices and you will find assistance from a customs or a revenue officer.
Yeah.
So that is direct contact that we encourage. You can also reach us through our call center. If you make a call and you have a certain inquiry, it will be redirected to the right person. Yeah. You can also engage with us through social media, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, X, even TikTok. We do have a TikTok page. So you can engage with us with all of these multiple platforms. KRA is here, KRA is responsive, and KRA is ready to address you. So walk into any KRA office. We are across all the counties. Or just reach us through the various social media platforms, or you can just give us a call and we'll be happy to attend to you and address any challenge that you may have. But also, I may say, please also remember to visit our website, that is www.kra.go.ke. Let me say that again, www.kra.go.ke, and you shall find a lot of information available for you. Lots of resources there for our taxpayers.
So thank you so much for taking your time, for showing up and just being part of our conversation today. What's your parting shot? Because right now we are encouraging businesses to strategically align with these incentives, and so that businesses in Kenya can enhance their sustainability efforts, and at the end of it will achieve economic growth. So what would be your key takeaway or parting shot to everyone who's shying away from approaching? You keep saying we are very welcoming.
Yes.
Yeah.
Two things. Well, of course, visit us, talk to us, write to us, and we shall come. At the end of the day, you're the business practitioner.
Yeah.
It is in our best interest to enable you, to facilitate you, to collaborate with you, so that you are able to pay your fair share, to ensure that the provision of public goods is done in a timely manner and that we can upgrade them as often as possible. Number two, amnesty, which is what you were talking about earlier. So we are saying that for all of your taxes which you have incurred up to December of 2024, you come and pay us the principal tax due, and we shall forgive the penalties and the interest.
Hey, now that you said it, I've just remembered. I got an sijui kama ninajianika lakini
Yeah.
I got an email
Yes.
for, was it an amnesty certificate or something?
Yes.
It wasn't very clear, so I ignored it.
Yes. Uh-huh.
So maybe
No,
I'm one of those culprits that
you've already
need.
been forgiven.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that means that I just need to pay, I think, 2,000.
No, no.
It's already done.
Even that is under. If it's a penalty, so long as it was up to until December of 2024, you pay us the principal tax before June of this year.
Oh, okay.
Because after June, the amnesty comes to an end.
Okay.
So you just log on to your iTax platform. Again, go to www.itax.kra.go.ke. Once you've logged in and you can see that you owe money, just look at that segment called principal tax. And for so long as those principal taxes are up to December of 2024, we shall give 2023, we shall give you an amnesty for all the penalties and interest. So I must clarify, 2023, not 2024. For all your penalties and interest incurred up to December 2023, we are going to forgive you for all the penalties and all the interest that has been incurred. Just pay the principal tax due. That's it. That's it. Yeah.
So just to clarify, now that I got the certificate, I don't need to pay.
Yeah, you don't need to pay. It's forgiven.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't a lot of money, but anyway, just needed that clarification.
Yes.
All right. So thank you so much. I mean, what prompted that?
Like I said, Kerry is your listening, caring partner. At the end of the day, we talk to business people, we are hearing the challenges they're having with compliance, or we are hearing they may be operating under a certain economic environment. And so to spur growth, to encourage reinvestment in the business, to encourage employees being kept on the payroll, to encourage expansion into other markets, we're like, okay, you pay the principal. This interest and this penalty for you not complying, at least up until 2023, let's forget about it. So that now you're able to focus on your core mandate, which is earning profits, employing people, solving a problem. That's what prompted it. Yeah.
So you listen. You actually do listen.
Yes, we listen.
Okay. Sasa, thank you so much for that very informative segment, because I think this is the first time ever I have had a guest who's here to clarify on tax revenue ever, especially in the green space, because we're always kashifing and we're always saying there's so much that taxes that we are unable to do businesses. And thank you for that clarity. And there you have it, guys. Today, Karanu Muchiri has been able to shed light on the available tax benefits for businesses investing in renewable energy, also carbon trading. You mentioned a bit about agri-space. And thank you so much for that. And we look forward to, engaging more with Kerry and also understanding more, because we're still very young. Yeah, it's a very green space that is very green, that is still not quite aware of itself. So we are trying to navigate the markets as ourselves. And thank you so much for that. We really look forward to engaging with you further. And what else can I say? This is Sustainability Connect on Icon Radio, your number one entertainment plug. And this has been a great discussion on, preferential tax incentives available in the Kenyan market. So take advantage, please take advantage. And Karan has spoken about, companies that are successful, especially when they take advantage of these incentives, sorry. So thank you so much, guys. And thank you for all your questions. I wish I can read them all. I think I'll read one.
Okay.
No, they're around 7. So do we do 1 or 2?
Let's see.
Let's see.
Yeah.
All right. The carbon markets. I think this is where a lot of tax incentives are, either needed. I mean, there's need for clarification on that. And the person is asking, are there trading platforms that that can help reduce carbon corporate tax rates? I don't know. Can you get that question?
Mm-hmm.
Can you get it? Have you
Yeah,
understood it?
understood
All
this
right, yeah. Maybe
question.
you can respond to that.
Like I mentioned, we normally have an all of government approach because, again, we can't regulate every sector. Yeah. So, given that it is a carbon market space, like I mentioned, we work in collaboration with the Nairobi International Financial Center Authority. So, all of that information and the qualifications that come thereof are with our partner government agency, NIFCA. So, I would encourage him to get in touch with NIFCA, and NIFCA will be able to give him the guidance as to what he is seeking and answer on. Yeah.
All right. The initial allowance within the first year of, I think you said something to do with 10 and then it increases to 15%. Yeah. Maybe somebody wants clarification on how that works.
Like I said, you have to be registered with the Special Economic Zone Authority. So you must meet the requirements that are stipulated within CESA. Like I said again, we work with other government institutions. So of course there are capital requirements that you must meet. There are certain compliance requirements you must meet with other government agencies. So by the time CESA is gazetting you that you can now operate from a special economic zone, you have fulfilled all of those requirements. And now once you have fulfilled those requirements, then the tax benefits kick in. And these now tax benefits are on corporate tax. Yeah. Because when we say that you have a preferential tax rate, it's on corporate tax. So now you pay 10% for the first 10 years, 15% for the other 10, and then thereafter you go into the 30% bracket. But of course, if you have employees and you have other things, those ones will still need to pay their payee, for example. Yeah, you'll still need to pay payee for your employees.
All right. So, another question on carbon markets. Carbon markets have been regulated as a mechanism for financing. Is that true?
Okay, so that's a global north and global south conversation because it's placing the responsibility of the emitter to finance the challenge that they're creating to those affected by matters of climate change, whether it's issues to do with flooding, whether it's drought, famine, and so on and so forth. So the emitting country is being mandated to now pay to ensure that those who are suffering the vagaries of climate change have the finances to adapt. Yeah. So is it it's not a direct financing question, but it falls into the broader conversation of carbon financing. Yeah.
I can't take it, Tim. Like, we have so many questions. Thank you so much, guys. We have to leave, but thank you so much for all your questions. Thank you for engaging with us on www.iconradio.co.ke and also for your direct messages. And I thank you so much for being part of this show. Up until next week, let's do this. This is Sustainability Connect, and I'm your host, Wanjira Maganjo. Karanu sema kwaheri.
Kwaheri, and thank you for listening to us. Like I said, one more time, Kiari is here to listen to you and respond to you. So engage us. We are very happy to attend to all your needs as our taxpayers. Thank you, and bye-bye.
Thank you so much. All right, bye, guys.